just one comment on my side. So the reason why I'm here, I changed roles a month ago, but I was the sales manager for AMS Device Manager across Europe. So I have a bit of experience with instruments and valves. So with that, let me just quickly, introduce you to what instrumentation or instrumentation management means in the industry. Traditionally, and again, we're going to focus today on HART devices, but HART was invented about 40 years ago, so it's not something new, but we know in the industry we're quite reluctant to change, right? So traditional instrumentation management meant basically sending somebody in the field with a field communicator to collect data, and that's fine, but that means that data it's kept in silos. It's basically stranded in a device, and we don't get all the benefits from it because our people need to transcribe it, and they spend a lot of time doing that. Some don't never do it, because it's just time consuming, or they take they transcribe data on paper, and then that data is lost in a paper trail. That's it's better than nothing, but in nowadays when everything is interconnected, why shouldn't we take the advantage of having everything connected and get a lot more? So why should we change the status quo? I think I answered that question for you just before. Again, everything is connected. You get devices nowadays which are smart, and when they have a problem, they start broadcasting an alert. We should take advantage of that, and be able to read and listen to those devices, the health of those devices from the comfort of the control room. And instead of sending somebody in the field to collect data, focus those resources on analyzing the data and taking corrective actions. So with that, I'll jump into a bit more statistics. Again, why should we change the status quo? We should, because it costs a lot more to repair a failed asset rather to address the issue beforehand, about 50% more. And not only does it cost more to repair something that's failed, it's also expensive to do maintenance for no reason, right? So, and there's a lot of the time where we just take a maintenance action because that's how it's scheduled in our maintenance procedure. And I'll have a lot of examples about people taking out control valves from the process just because that's what the maintenance procedure says. And about 60% of that time, those valves are fine, right? So, if you don't have a headache, don't take a pill. That's our strategy. You have a software on top, AMS Device Manager, collecting data from the field, trust it, and then don't take action if you don't have to, which leads obviously to time managing. We have less and less resources or less and less experts in the field. Take advantage of what you have and leverage those expertise on meaningful action rather than to just take actions by the book. So how does that impact into our plants? Plants are prone to performance failure. They degrade over time because they're built on devices, and devices they degrade because of wear and tear. And when they do, because they're smart, they broadcast an alert. And you just have to be there to listen, because if you don't, the device is going to fail on you, and then it's going to impact your process, or even worse, create a safety incident. So what AMS Device Manager does, it's there to listen and give you meaningful information, so you can take meaningful actions and avoid that process shutdown and even unfortunate safety incident. With that, I'll jump quickly into what AMS Device Manager is. So AMS Device Manager is a software that sits on 3 or 4 pillars, depending who you ask in Emerson. I like to call it four pillars. The first one, and probably the most common, and people know it quite well, is the configuration management, right? So when we invented HART in '85 and then donated it to the industry, one of the best thing about devices with HART was that you could configure those devices, right? So instead of now having only one PV value, you can have more, and so on. So we can do configuration from the comfort of our maintenance shop without the need to go to the field. And you can even do it smarter. We can do it in bulk by configuring several devices at once, or we can have smarter ways of doing commissioning with our DeltaV control system. And then if I move into the operate side of the plant, right? You build your plant for 2-3 years, but then you operate it for 20-30 years. And then you need to rely on the information you get from the instruments and valves. How do you do that? You make sure that what you read and what you control is correct. So AMS Device Manager sits on top of those instruments and valves and listens to those alerts, and you can have that in several ways. And once you have an alert, you can take a meaningful action from AMS Device Manager. We even have in-depth application to help out with the maintenance activities. And then the third pillar, calibration management. So we do calibration management. We don't do calibration. There's no software in the world that can do calibration. In order to do calibration of an instrument, you need a more accurate instrument next to it so you can compare, and that's what documenting calibrators do. AMS Device Manager connects to, I would say, all of the documenting calibrators, just because I have not seen one in the market that we cannot connect to. But for the sake of exercise, BMAX Fluke, probably it's more common in the market, and we connect to those ones as well, of course. And then the fourth pillar, or the foundation in this slide, is the documentation. So all the actions that are taken in the plant are captured by a historian. We call it audit trail. That action can be taken by a person or even an event in the plant. Whatever is happening with a tag or an instrument in your plant is captured by audit trail and saved for life, right? For the life of the instrument. And it's fantastic, because you can have a history of that tag regardless of how many instruments you replaced on that tag. We also have a Word document attached to every tag in the database, which basically means you can now store whatever data you want in there, or links to the network in your plant. So if you have a problem with the DVC, for example, and you don't know the ins and outs of it, you can right click on it and then go to documentation and open it, and see what you need to fix. So that's AMS Device Manager in a nutshell. There's no AMS Device Manager is software on top, and there's no action if you cannot get to the bottom. So AMS Device Manager connects to all open protocols. So we connect to HART, Foundation Field Bus, Wireless HART, Profibus, soon Profinet with the help of Softing. But then from the bottom layer, from the field to the top where Device Manager sits, you need some kind of communication path. You already have the wiring, you have all that good thing in, but sometimes we don't understand the language, we don't understand the protocols, because there are lots of manufacturers out there that use proprietary protocols. So if I look at this slide, if you look at the left, obviously everything that's Emerson we can connect to. So Emerson Control Systems, DeltaV, Ovation, Open Enterprise, we have a direct connectivity. Emerson wireless gateways, direct connectivity. We have a two-way communication with the AMS Tracks, our portable device. As I said, we connect to most documenting calibrators. And then we also have some, I would say, unelegant solutions. If you have a very old system and we have to go in with a HART multiplexer, that's also a possibility. But what do you do about the bad guys out there, the PLCs, the remote IOs? How do I connect into those, because I don't understand the language? How do I get into, even if I have a full plant of DeltaV, you always have some skids with ABB or Allen Bradley remote IOs, or Kongsberg, or you might have a HEMA system for your safety, a remote IO from Stahl. I need to be able to get the information from the instruments connected to those PLCs as well. And that's where Softing comes in handy. Yeah, and with that, I'll hand over the floor to Sanmei to give a bit of more of an insight on how we connect to those PLCs and remote IOs.
Okay, so now thank you once again, Konstantin, to highlight all the challenges, and the main challenge is connection to the third-party remote IOs. So let's look into the plant. How would it look? So you can see here are the different field devices that could be sensors, actuators, transmitters, walls, and then you want to get the data out from these. So they speak HART, and then you have connected them to a remote I/O, and then through a PLC you want to communicate to AMS Device Manager. So we want to move from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance, right? And then as Konstantin said, so whenever it is not the Emerson DCS system, it is really tough to get the data out. And we can already say that whenever you go into a plant, the devices are not always from the same vendors. So I would say one of the biggest challenges that connection via third-party remote IOs is really can be tricky. Now, to bring out the whole potential of the SmartLink solution, let me tell you about all the challenges and how smartlink can easily help you to basically tackle these challenges and then smoothly run the plant. So another important aspect is that we need real-time access to all these devices. So as we are moving from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance, we need the real-time access, so the data is transmitted seamlessly and smoothly to AMS Device Manager. Also now in the process industries, we are trying to reduce cost, we are trying to bring in digitalization, we are trying to reduce the shutdowns, and also integrate smart field devices. So this is done just to save the cost and easy to use solution. Another one, I would say, once you have new hard devices, the solution needs to be scalable, right? So the more number of devices you add, the data should be seamlessly transported to AMS Device Manager that is running on the HART IP server, and so that you can have, so then everything is visible and you will have all the device alerts easily accessible at AMS Device Manager. So overall, the solution needs to be scalable. And then when it comes to process industries, the architecture is really, I would say, complex, and if you want to change it, uh, yeah, you need a lot of cost. So something that would not let you to change your existing automation network, that is also another challenge. And then, as I said, so these devices, these field devices could be from different vendors, right? So you have maybe field devices from ABB, Anderson Hauser, and Kroner, Vega, and then you have connected them to Profibus or Profinet or Ethernet-based remote IOs or PLCs, and then you want to get this data out and send it to AMS Device Manager, right? So there needs to be some kind of interoperability between these devices, and yeah, that is what we say, that the whole connectivity would be easy when everyone will be speaking the same language, right? So all the protocols from the field devices, the protocols from the remote IOs, and then using some kind of a gateway or linking device that could basically help the AMS Device Manager to access the data. Now, for this challenge, what I have got uh, is like the SmartLink solution here. But before jumping on SmartLink, I just want to highlight some of the other solutions from Softing. So in future, if you want to just inquire about other products, I will just give you idea what do we do. So we have gateways, communication softwares, and mobile interfaces. So that help you to basically go deep down into the field and access the data from these different devices, and then you can enable parameterization, asset monitoring, uh, asset management, process optimization, and IoT. So we have the SmartLink product here that you can see here. One is the hardware version, one is the software version. We can speak both Profibus and Profinet. I will be speaking in the successive slides about what can SmartLink do. Then we have some gateways that can basically convert your protocol from maybe Profibus to Ethernet to Modbus to Profibus PA to Profinet, Foundation Field Bus to Modbus, and many more. Also, as we know that the APL technology is really trending right now, so everywhere you go, you talk about process industries, you can hear APL, right? And then they are going to be the successors of the field devices in future. So we also have the APL switch field that would be coming up this year, and then it would be also relevant for the asset management application as well. And lastly, we have a mobile link device. So it's a mobile interface, so it provides mobile interface or a USB interface to your field devices, and then you can do parameterization, configuration, and then you are all set to go. But let's not jump onto these products. Let's focus on smartlink. Okay, so as we know that we can see the trend going towards Profinet and Ethernet based systems. So most of the PLCs and remote IOs are Profinet based or Ethernet based, or they are trying to be that once in the future. So let's focus on the SmartLink software version here. So what kind of features do we have here? So we have access to HART devices that are connected to the remote IOs. So these HART devices that are connected to the remote IOs, SmartLink software version can access the data from this. And I will speak about the protocols, how it works, and I will show in the solution architecture. Also, I would say SmartLink software version can provide you controller independent access to the device data. So from the HART devices, and also I would say that in the process industries right now, we see that the Namur open architecture is promoted by the Namur organization, and it is really usable. So what is the main thing about NOAA is that it gives you a second channel to get your data out from your field devices, and then you don't need to interfere with or interrupt your existing automation network. So this device, this SmartLink software version or hardware version from Softing basically supports that. And then I would say overall you can do full parameterization, configuration, and it supports the monitoring functionality. Okay, now as the title says here, we are transforming the connectivity, and then you will have no more stranded devices. So in the SmartLink product family, we have the SmartLink software version here on the left side and the SmartLink hardware version on the right side. So as I told you already that Ethernet and Profinet technologies are really booming, and then those are the communication protocols that are used or will be used in the future. So for that, you can see that these kind of field devices, pressure sensors, transmitters, walls, etc. are connected to the remote IO. So these remote IO might be speaking Ethernet or Profinet, and then through SmartLink software version, you can send it via HART IP to AMS Emerson AMS Device Manager, or to HART IP client, or to any kind of FTT application as well. So it is very easy. It's just a software that runs on your computer, and you don't need any additional hardware for that. Also on the right side, just to highlight, for the older technology, that is the Profibus DP, I would say you have your HART devices that are connected to Profibus remote IOs. This SmartLink hardware here can provide you the access to the Profibus DP segment, and then through HART IP or FDT, MQTT, OPCOA, you can send it northbound to AMS Device Manager, to cloud, to network monitoring, or any other kind of application. Now, as I'm talking about transforming connectivity, let's see. So you might be very much familiar with these images if you're working in the plant regularly. So for the SmartLink software version, we support the Allen Bradley as it is Ethernet based, Siemens Profinet remote IOs, and also the R-Star one. So then you have your HART devices connected to these different remote IOs, and you can easily send the data via the software version to the northbound AMS Device Manager. On the right side, we have the Siemens Profibus remote IOs, Pepper and Fuchs, Turk, and ABB. And these different devices can help you to get the data out from the HART devices by using the SmartLink solution here and send the information. But today we are just focusing on Allen Bradley, right? So these are the different kind of remote IOs that we support. So it might be control logics, compact logics, Ethernet interface modules, or IP interface modules. And sometimes I would say the names could be really confusing here on the left side. So just to give you an idea about the images, that these images or these pictures you might be seeing every day or live or on your computer. So these are different kind of Allen Bradley remote IOs that we support. Now, as promised, I will show you the solution architecture, how it would look like in a plant. So you have your HART devices that you have connected to a Allen Bradley remote IO, and then through Ethernet you make the communication with the PLC. And also I would say Sometimes you have the possibility to connect the HART devices directly to the remote, to the PLC, Allen Bradley PLC. So both ways you can, depending on the PLC and remote I/O situation, HART devices could be connected directly to the PLC, or you can connect them via the remote I/O. And then through Ethernet, SmartLink software version, which is a Docker container, as you can see the logo here. It creates a virtual machine, and then it runs on a virtual machine, so that it can easily access the data from the PLC and remote I/Os, and then it can read the data from the HART devices and easily provide the data via HART IP to AMS Device Manager. So it is that simple. And I would say it is really tough to visually make everything out of it. But now I would like to show you a live demo. And before I do that, let me jump on to our Softing Industrial product page. So if you go on the SmartLink product page, you can just scroll down here. As you scroll down here, you will see that we have the SmartLink software version as a Docker image. So version 1.41, that is the latest version. We have the VMware and Hyper-V image. So if you have a Windows PC, you can just install Hyper-V or VMware, and you can directly create a virtual machine, and then you can run the SmartLink software version on it, and then you can easily access your remote I/Os and provide the data, right? Okay, and so I would say it is not at all important to show you how do you install SmartLink, because for that we have the user guide here. It will guide you to install SmartLink smoothly on your PC, how to install VMware and Hyper-V, everything, all the information is included in the user guide. So you can use that. Also, I would say we have different videos here for you, and then you can easily install SmartLink. Plus, I would like to say that we can guarantee you that we provide you one HART device for free. You can download it, and then you will have one license free for your one HART device. You can test, you can play around with the SmartLink solution, and then you can test it for yourself. And once you are satisfied, you can contact us, and then we will discuss about how about different licensing models for your different kind of HART devices. And some time back, I just showed you different kind of remote I/Os, right? So you don't need to stress about contacting us directly, okay, which remote IO, and you won't be confused. So we have all the data available here under technical data, and then you can see all the supported remote IOs. Now, without wasting time, let's jump on directly to the demo. Okay, so first of all, I will start the Hyper-V here, and I will create a virtual image out of it. Okay, now I have the virtual machine running here, and now let's jump on to the SmartLink software version web interface. So this steps you can easily see in the user guide, and now from here I will show you how does it work. You can add your username and password. All these steps are there in the manual, and once you are done, just log in into it. So the first page that appears here is just about the system, so the software version. On my PC right now, I have the 1.41 version installed. Okay, the system ID is present here. Here on the left side, you can see three options. Under licenses, you can view different license packages, and the licenses you purchase would be visible here. Also, you can contact our sales team to know about the different packages. Now, let's not waste time and just jump to the main deal here. Here under HART trios, we want to connect the HART device, we want to connect the remote IOs to SmartLink, okay? And these are the different supported ones, but today we are just focusing on Allen Bradley. Now I want to add a Allen Bradley remote IO. I will click on add, and then I will see here a tree. So when I expand this tree, you see a name here. So for me, I have the Allen Bradley Flex 5094 version here. So I just name it that this is the remote IO that is connected to different HART devices. And in your case, you can name it PLC, or you can just give it a name, and this name would be then visible under the live list or under AMS Device Manager. Next step for you is to give the IP address for your remote IO. So this is the IP address on the right side for my remote IO here. Okay, and now we want to know in which slot have we inserted the HART device. So I know that for me, the module name is A1. You can give it M1 or anything. And for me, I have inserted it in slot 1. Okay. So I enter here the information as slot 1, and then I click on apply. Now, the most important thing is that we have the HART devices that are connected to Ethernet based Allen Bradley Remote I/O, which is Flex 5094. And then now smartlink software version needs to be configured, and then I want to have the access to the HART devices. So once I go to diagnosis, I see 3 options here. So when I go to live list, I can directly see that the Allen Bradley Flex has been recognized by the smartlink software solution. Right now I have just connected one HART device, and so one license for that. And then as I expand, I have that the channel, it is inserted into channel 3. The HART device is a temperature sensor from PR Electronics, and you will have all the information about your device here. Another point I would like to say here is that you can see that the status is okay. In case if you have problems, obviously there is nothing perfect in this world. So in case you have any problem with the HART devices or the connectivity is not possible, then you will see an error message, and this error message would be displayed here where you can see the status right now is okay, and it would be a clear message. Okay, and then you don't need to panic. It will really tell you what is missing, and then you can actually make the changes, and easily it would be I would say fixed. Then on the right side above here, you can see the scan interval. So after every 15 minutes it scans different number of devices. And I would say if you have inserted new devices, so if you had a new hard device and you immediately want to view it, here under live list, you can just click on start scan, and then it would show you the new devices. So right now I have the only one hard device being displayed here, but as I add more and more hard devices, then they would be displayed here below. Now, I told you about error. So once you have error, all the log files are generated here. And next step for you guys is to click for support. So you need to ask Softing for the support, right? So you can click on support data here. That is how you can easily create a zip file out of this. It's getting downloaded. Yeah, and out of the error that you have been facing, there would be a zip file created. And then this zip file, you can send this to support team of Softing, and then they would be easily able to fix your issue. And under the settings, we have the options as log file priority, log file facility, and I will always say that set the log file priority to debug, so that you can give us maximum information, and then the issue would be sorted out quickly. And last step, before we jump to AMS Device Manager, under long tag, we want to see the smartlink solution. So I would just give it the name smartlink software version and click on apply. So the communication I told you outbound is via HART IP, and then I want to see smartlink software HART as the name under AMS Device Manager. So now let's not waste time and jump on to AMS Device Manager. Before that, I need to open the network configurator so that the smartlink software version and AMS Device Manager are running on the same server, and then this server is the HART IP server. Okay, so once I see this here, I just click on add. You can click on HART IP network and install it. I already have it configured on my PC right now, so I won't double do it. And the next step after that is you just need to give the IP address for your SmartLink software solution. Now let's jump on to AMS Device Manager. So here I can directly see that my PC, which has the SmartLink software version running, is clearly visible here. It is named MW Messer. So good thing that my PC is already recognized by AMS. Now the next step is to basically go down under this tree, and here we see the SmartLink software HART 1. What would I do first? I will just rebuild the hierarchy. So I want to see the different levels of uh, whatever connectivity I have done. And as I keep on expanding this, you can see that the Allen Bradley Flex 5094 is easily recognized here by AMS Device Manager. But what is important for us is the HART device. So once I just expand it more, I can see that HART card 1 is being recognized. I will double click it, give it some time. And as you already saw in the smartLink web interface that it was a PR electronics device, so it is easily recognized here. And so basically we were able to access the data from the HART devices that are connected to the remote IO, and via Ethernet we pulled this data out from the smartLink software solution, and via HART IP it is communicated here. And then I will show you that this is the temperature sensor which shows the value of 29.11 degree. So you don't need to worry at all about any problems you might have. Remotely we could easily access via AMS Device Manager. We can easily have the data here, and you can basically have all the information about your devices running, and SmartLinks provides this connectivity along with AMS Device Manager. So that's all for the demo. And I would like to share you an example. Without an example, without a justification, no one can believe your solution, right? So we did this project for an American company. It's an energy industry, and they have more than 40,000 employees worldwide. So they decided to use Emerson AMS Device Manager as a plant asset management solution to get the data out from different hard devices they had. And basically most of the process industries are turning towards digitalization right now, right? So they decided to move from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance, and then they decided to use Emerson AMS Device Manager. So the central team at the energy industry, they define the solution architecture, and then they choose Emerson AMS Device Manager. And then initially they wanted to test it on one site, and then after the success they wanted to deploy at 3 different sites. Now let's jump on to the main deal here, that is the business need. As I told you about that, they wanted to bring in digitalization in their industry. They wanted to implement a plant-wide diagnostic that would easily tap into the heartbeat. So you can have the data from your heart device at AMS Device Manager, and then further you can use it for alerts and analysis, and then you can really bring in more efficient solutions. Also with this, they wanted to cut down on the cost. They have been spending on maintenance purposes and repairing the different devices, or doing the maintenance when it is not needed, and spending lots of money. So then they wanted to cut down the cost on this. And obviously the another point was the IT security. So basically the transfer of data from hard devices via SmartLink to I would say plant asset management application. It should be secure and safe passage for the data. And then, as Konstantin already highlighted, we don't want to get stuck in the traditional practices, but more we want to enjoy, relax, and easily have all the information. So the customer here, the energy industry, they wanted to transition to a remote operated control console for all the fields. And now, what were the technical requirements? They had the hard devices that were connected to Rockwell PLCs or via or remote IOs, and they had the Emerson AMS Device Manager that is running on the HART IP server. And also another technical requirement from their side was the connectivity solution shall be running on a virtual machine, VMware or Hyper-V. Here they wanted the VMware one, and that were the requirements they had. So the business need and technical requirements were these. So the energy industry faced these problems, and then we provided them with smartLink software version, which runs on a virtual machine that was created by VMware. And so the communication was via HART IP to AMS Device Manager. So the hard devices, as you can see here, were connected to the remote IOs and also directly to the PLC. Then from the remote IO to PLC, the communication is Ethernet, and also from PLC to SmartLink software version, the communication is Ethernet, and via HART IP, they were able to have all the data. So the configuration and diagnostic data was easily available. And as I told you, as it was a pilot project, they initially deployed and tried for 600 devices, and then we are in process to implement at 3 different sites and connect more than 8,000 instruments. What I see in next 1 or 2 years, that it would be probably more than 100,000 devices that could be connected via the smartLink solution to AMS Device Manager. And then the benefits. So the benefits were this, overall, it was simple and automated deployment. So the solution is scalable, the remote IOs, the communication protocols were easily accessible, and smartlink was able to get the data out and send it to AMS Device Manager. Also, the web interface for smartlink was quite easy, I would say, for the uh, customer, and then any operator, plant operator can use it and basically have all the information in his hands. And I would say, as we did it only initially for as a pilot project, but we can easily scale it for large scale projects. And then we were successfully able to support this customer in United States. Now, that is already my last slide now, and basically what benefits do you have? So you have simple and fast access to your HART devices that are connected to Allen Bradley. You don't need any additional hardware, right? So it's just a software, it's a Docker container, and then this software is running on your computer, and then you can easily access the data from these devices, and then basically without interrupting your architecture or existing automation network, you directly support this data to AMS Device Manager. Also, the HART IP protocol is quite transparent and it can easily help you to access the devices. And lastly, I would like to tell you that the license model we have is really flexible, and we would be really able to help you and offer you the best price for the licenses that you want to purchase. So you can contact the sales colleague at Softing and you can know about the prices already. And that is all from my side. So I would really like to thank you for your participation. Thank you, Constantine and Emerson, for collaborating with Softing on this really successful webinar. And thank you, Ramin, for giving me the stage to talk about this. That's all from my side. Back to you, Ramin.
Okay, great. Thank you to the both of you. So let me just see what kind of questions came in during the time that you were presenting, Sunmai. Jeffrey Benson asked, does the connection work with Modbus versus Ethernet addressing? So does it also work with Modbus?
I would say if you're asking about SmartLink solution, no, not really. SmartLink is basically meant for getting the HART devices. Communication would be either Profinet or Ethernet. But we might be having different solutions that might support your query here. So I would really ask you to get in contact with sales guys, or obviously I take this question with me and I will support you on this question here.
So basically the follow-up from Jeffrey here is it's really strictly a Modbus network, and then maybe we can establish a direct little connection between you guys to follow up on that.
Yes.
Let's see, any other question? While maybe some of you might think still about questions coming in, we also have a little poll where we ask you about the follow-up, so that gives the participants some time to think what else they would like to know, because we want to respect the follow-up. I mean, you are going to get the marketing materials, the recording, the slides, but in order to streamline our processes between the two organizations in terms of sales follow-up, this is what we're asking at this point. So if you could please answer this, I would appreciate it, and that will be fine. And 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're good. Then a question, let's say, also for Constantine, what I got in. How can I pull out data to a cloud or to an upper level within the architecture?
All right. Before I answer that, I mean, I'm just going to complete what Sanmay was saying. So even if, please get in touch with us, but just be aware that AMS Device Manager does not support Modbus devices for now. It might be in the future, we don't say no. So if there's enough use cases, we'll definitely go that direction as well. And to answer your question, Ramin, We have so AMS Device Manager is a perpetual license for now. The future is towards subscription, so we went that direction as well. Because a lot of users asked about how we can expose that data. We were pretty closed for obvious reasons, because you can touch the field devices and sometimes you can mess it up. But we opened up and we have a subscription called AMS Device Manager Data Server, which basically using open protocols publishes that data up, MQTT, OPCUA, and so on, into broadcast, and then we just have other clients listening.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for the great explanation. That should answer that question. And I'll give it a little dramatic pause to see if anything else comes in. But as it seems at this point, there are no more questions. I still put out the offer to those who have participated today. You know, once you get the presentation, once you get the video recording, Konstantin and Samai and myself were available for any questions you might have. And ooh, look at there, we do still have one come in from Osama Adnan. Does the AMS support to communicate with instruments that are not manufactured by Emerson? So does the AMS also support communication with instruments that are not manufactured by Emerson?
Yeah, we don't really care about who manufactures them, as long as they have, so for a HART device, as long as it have a device descriptor or EDDL DD file, we can connect to it. Also Profinet, Profibus, and so on. So it doesn't matter who manufactures it.
Okay, great. Okay, so it seems to me, maybe I'll do the same game again, a little bit of thanking everybody who have participated. I'm also looking whether any other questions are coming in, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Thank you so much, Konstantin. Thank you also, Sanmai, for insightful webinar. And to those who have partaken as participants at attendees at today's webinar. Look us up on the website, also at Softing, where we do post our webinars and where we would like to engage with you again. And that leaves it for me today to say thank you to everybody involved and wish everybody a really good rest of the week. Thank you so much.